Labour put the rights of illegals over the rights of Brits. It's emerged that asylum seekers are being given brand new £300,000 homes, complete with electric car charging ports and underfloor heating. Also,
it looks like the police are trying to cause a scene.
No, you're not. Go away.
were the police too heavy-handed with anti-illegal migrant protesters this weekend? Plus,
there's one rule for them and one rule for all of us.
never gets old, that clip, does it? More trouble for Angela Three Homes Rayner. Huge questions over the value of her properties and where she got the money from. And
I'm Jeremy Corbyn, leader of the Labour Party. My pronouns are he, him.
oh, that's nice. I mean, the Islamic left and the trans rights brigade have finally figured out that they don't like each other. And well, a new report says the countryside is racist, but judging by that clip, I'm not too sure it is. On my panel tonight, we've got Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, we've got journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth and commentator James Price, and Greta's not happy.
Slowly, every day, more and more people are waking up and seeing more of the absolute atrocities, the genocide, the mass slaughtering that Israel is committing.
Has anyone else noticed a slight resemblance here, do you think? Oh, there it is. Uncanny, isn't it? Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Is a gun enthusiast working as security at illegal migrant hotels? Next.
Very good evening to you. Just after 9 o'clock, well, the top story tonight, the biggest shake-up of Britain's borders in years. That's the promise from the Home Secretary today. The first returns under a new treaty with France will begin later this month, alongside tougher language rules, expanded detention and a crackdown on smuggling gangs. Yvette Cooper said earlier she is committed to fixing every aspect of the broken system she claims Labour inherited from the Conservatives.
Solving problems, not exploiting them. A serious and comprehensive plan, not fantasy claims based on sums that don't add up or gimmicks that failed in the past. What we will never do is seek to stir up chaos, division or hate, because that is not who we are as a country, and that is not what Britain stands for.
Meanwhile, the Conservatives claimed the government is failing to get a grip on small boats, and Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp says Labour's decision to abandon the Rwanda plan has left Britain without a real deterrent.
If someone enters this country illegally, they should not be allowed to bring in any family members. In fact, everybody entering this country illegally should be immediately removed to their country of origin, if possible, and if not possible, to a safe third country such as Rwanda, a scheme which she cancelled just days before it was due to start.
Sir Keir Starmer is reshaping his Downing Street team, creating a brand new role at number 10. Labour's Darren Jones is moving from the Treasury to become Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, a job designed, in the words of officials, to turbocharge the government. Jones will be based in number 10, overseeing work across Whitehall to drive the Prime Minister's priorities. James Murray replaces him as Treasury Chief Secretary, while Dan Tomlinson becomes Exchequer Secretary. It follows Sir Keir's recent move to bring in Baroness Manucci Shafiq, the former Columbia University president, now his chief economic advisor. Also in politics, the Conservatives are challenging Labour to rule out new property taxes, forcing a Commons vote ahead of the budget. Chancellor Rachel Reeves is under pressure to plug a gap in the public finances, with sluggish growth and higher borrowing costs piling on the strain. Options reportedly on the table include scrapping capital gains tax relief on expensive homes or tightening inheritance tax rules. The vote's expected on Wednesday this week, with opposition leader Kemi Badenoch telling us earlier that ministers must come clean on their plans.
We need the government to be honest with people. They have been making a lot of noise about black holes. The truth is, they're the ones who created a black hole with their budget last year. They tax businesses who have shed loads of jobs. Unemployment has been rising every single month since Labour came into power. The economy is doing really badly under them, and now they're coming back for more. So we need them to be honest, and that is what the vote on Wednesday is about. Labour telling us exactly what it is they're going to do, but we're the only party that will defend home ownership.
And Queen Camilla has revealed that she once fought off a man who tried to indecently assault her on a train as a teenager. According to a new book, Power and the Palace, the Queen told Boris Johnson that the incident happened when she was about 16 or 17, travelling to Paddington. She said she hit the man with her shoe before reporting him to police. Camilla has since become a long-standing campaigner against sexual abuse and domestic violence, pledging last year she would keep trying to end it. Those are the latest headlines for now. I'll be back with the news at 10. Now, though, it's over to Patrick.
Good evening. We start the show with a big exclusive. It appears that a Pakistani man working as a security guard at numerous illegal migrant hotels has posted videos of guns on what seems to now be deleted social media accounts. On Friday night, this video emerged from what seems to be the inside of the Bell Hotel in Epping. So you can see a protest taking place outside there. It very much seems to be from the inside of the Bell Hotel. It was posted on a social media page, but these videos are also available on that particular man's Snapchat profile, and we can show you some of them now. So look at that. You've got several weapons there, pistols, more kind of semi-automatic weapons, etc., etc. Pretty heavy-duty stuff. There are several posts showing weapons and also wads of cash, as well as numerous different mobile phones. So we can see different amounts of cash there. You've got watches, some of the others show phones. There we go. And underneath those phones, you might be able to make out just the barrel of a weapon as well. And that's the trigger that you're looking at there. Now, initially, it was thought that this man might have been living at the Bell Hotel, but analysis of his social media profile appears to reveal something very, very interesting. And he seems to have initially come to Britain and obtained a degree from what we believe to be a university around the London area. He then seems to have qualified as a security guard, and he's posted numerous photos of himself with walkie-talkies, so we can see them there in different locations, some corporate, some more rural, and I'll come on to that more rural one in just a second, because then he posted a video of himself at the Copthorne Hotel in Effingham in West Sussex. Now, that is a migrant hotel, OK? And he posted a video as well, which I think we can show you, in what is believed to be the grounds of that hotel. That's actually that's the Bell Hotel. So it brings us back to this, doesn't it? This inside the Bell Hotel. There you go. Now, we have reported this to the Home Office. We've also reported it to the company that we think is responsible for security at the Bell Hotel, Supreme Facilities. With that evidence there, that would strongly suggest that there is a man operating as a security guard at two migrant hotels who, on his social media, was publicly displaying various different weapons, wads of cash, multiple mobile phones, all of that stuff. The public are rightly very worried about the illegal migrants in these hotels potentially being very serious criminals. But what about the security guards? Who are they? Where do they come from? What security checks are done on them? Now, we don't know the full circumstances around these pictures. They don't appear to have been taken in the UK, thankfully. There's no indication he's been carrying weapons here. But we tried to contact him to ask him directly. We are yet to receive a reply. Yeah, he may well argue he's done nothing wrong by posting them, but does anybody else think that it's a little bit concerning that we seem to have a bloke who posed with what looks like AK-47s, wads of cash and numerous different mobile phones in Pakistan, suddenly working as security guards at hotels full of illegal migrants? Well, let's get the thoughts of my panel on this. We have got the Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, and former Chief of Staff for the Chancellor of the Exchequer, James Price. Carol, I will start with you on this. I want to know what security checks are being carried out on the people who are supposed to be security guards at hotels full of illegal migrants.
Well, clearly not at all, because if you... I mean, not even are they not deep-dive security checks. If you can't look at and peruse someone's social media, you're not doing any checks at all. I mean, you can't have people... you can't have people with guns guarding people who might want guns. You know when you were in Calais, you came across people with weapons, you came across people with machetes and knives. Chris Phillips, the Shadow Home Secretary, had exactly the same experience. So you're dealing with guys, and we know hundreds of asylum seekers are criminals. They've been prosecuted. We know that. And a lot of these people could be very dangerous people. And here we have a security guard who appears to be a little bit of a nutter. You know, you're not normal. If you've got a car full of guns and you're showing them off on social media, you're a bit of a lad, you're a bit unstable. And we've got someone who is doing that, showing off with guns, guarding asylum seekers. You know, it's a recipe for carnage, because if he's got guns, he has access to guns.
Well, this, James, one of the things that this exposes is something that I've actually been banging on about for quite a while, which has been more of a suspicion, but now I think it's confirmed, really, which is that we appear to be importing people from other countries, allowing them to get, from what I can gather, really quite bog-standard, some would argue Mickey Mouse degrees at some tin pot establishments at various different places, and then employing them as security guards at hotels full of illegal migrants.
It's obviously a massive operational security problem, this, and the only replacement at this point is lots of more police involved in it, and police numbers have been reduced for too long or already stretched too thin. People go on and on and on, rightly, about illegal immigration. We don't know anything about the people who are coming over. Maybe they're all the next Shakespeare, probably not. Maybe they're all the next, Isaac Newton. We can hope, but we don't know anything about these people. We don't know a huge amount about, though, the vastly higher numbers even of, as you say, legal migrants coming into this country. So people in the public think that the numbers are about 70,000 legal migrants a year. It's more like 700,000, 800,000 legal migrants a year. And as you say, they're using the British university system to come in, not get terribly high-quality degrees, if all you end up doing is being a security guard, perhaps, and showing off in other areas. And this is happening, and you'll start hearing voices saying, we need these people coming over to keep these universities alive. We don't need those universities. They don't add anything. No, and I'm sorry, but the idea that we can't find British people to work as security guards at migrant hotels, Benjamin, I mean, I think you'd have people volunteering.
I'm not sure why you need a degree to become a security guard either, right? I don't see why that's so necessary.
The degree gets him into the country. That's the point.
Right. And I do think, I mean, there is a problem with some universities that appear to offer really dire degrees, but also places like sixth form colleges. We know that people have been coming over and getting loans and grants for those systems, and then they return back to their country and they take the money with them, and then they do the same thing next year. So there's clearly a problem in that being exploited. But, I mean, in this case, it's obviously a security failing and a very serious one, but it could also put the refugees at risk, not just anybody that might protest outside. What I don't want is this fear-mongering that somehow they are all dangerous reprobates, when there are lots of decent, desperate people that we should be proud to help.
There have been hundreds of prosecutions of migrants who are in hotels across the country, and that has been widely reported.
But that shouldn't mean that we don't help the people coming from the most appalling circumstances.
But this security company, Supreme Facilities, which is a misnomer if ever there was one.
Quite.
I mean, it's not hard to check someone out. And how many more people are on their books who are dodgy like this bloke? You know, this guy is dangerous. If you have guns knocking around, and if you're obviously showing off on social media with them, you are not responsible, you're not stable, you're potentially incredibly dangerous. And he could be now selling weapons to migrants who want to cause trouble.
I will just say that these videos appear to be in Pakistan. Right, so there is...
Doesn't matter. If you have a fetish for guns, if you're interested in guns and you have bought guns, that means that if you come to another country, you may well go after guns as well. It's just not safe.
Can I just bring James into this? Because there's a lot of talk, as we've just had right now, and we have most evenings right here on this show, rightly so, because I think it's the biggest issue facing the country, about a lack of security checks of illegal migrants in these hotels, and people like the people of Epping and right up and down the country being very worried about it. But if that bloke has gone through security checks, has potentially got a visa to stay here, has got a degree, and has got a job as a security guard, and it took us 2 minutes to find out imposing with guns and money and all that, well, it makes a mockery of the whole thing, doesn't it?
I think it does. I think the more of a mockery is the fact that about 20 years ago, the government stopped doing the exit checks of who was actually leaving the country. They thought, well, you know, we're in the EU now, we can't really tell, doesn't really matter, let's not bother. So the government doesn't actually know people coming and leaving the country. We don't know how many people are doing that. You ally that to the situation you've been very good at reporting, and then you think as well, what have we had in Europe in the last couple of years? We've had a massive, massive war with tens and tens, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars and pounds spent on not just big weapons, but on small arms. And I've actually spoken to some people who are familiar with some of the things, that the bits of the deep state that you don't want to worry about too much, are worrying about. And small arms, as in guns and things, proliferation is something they're really scared about. It's very easy. A drone, an underwater drone or something, could come up, wash up on a beach somewhere, someone knows where to get it, and suddenly a couple of guns start smuggling around the country. We've seen some examples here. All it takes one then kind of terrifying mass shooting at one of these hotels or somewhere else around the country, and suddenly you have a level of national panic and we don't know what to do with it. That's really scary.
What is astonishing, James, is that this guy has just been suspended by Supreme Facilities while they investigate. What's to investigate? The guy's posted pictures with guns. What's to investigate? He should be fired and got rid of.
I mean, thankfully, there are, you know, guns are very rare in this country, and we're one of the safest in the world.
If people are like that, like him, I
think the fact that he's flaunting this on social media, the fact that it was so easy to find, tells you something about how weak the system is, about how free they feel to behave in this threatening, in this crazy way. It's not just the fact that they have a person that looks like they have guns and have those inclinations. It's the fact that they're not scared of the consequences that should really alarm us.
Or they're just very stupid.
It could be both,
it's not mutually exclusive.
But look, just think about this logically. What are we doing to our country, James? We've got this illegal immigration free-for-all, hotels full of them, up and down the country, more than we had under the Tories in terms of numbers, slightly fewer hotels. But then we are also importing people to work as their security guards as well. From, in this guy's case, Pakistan, where he appeared to have a penchant for guns and everything. What on earth are we doing to Britain? You've got the illegal side of it, then you've got the legal side of it. Why are we importing all of these people at all?
It's a very, very good question. There isn't a decent answer to it, other than people are worried about being called racist or rude words and things like that. You look at something like the Migration Advisory Committee, even they say it doesn't actually cost that much to get British people to do lots of these jobs, right? A couple of quid more an hour, when you consider that, for the most part, legal migrants then can bring dependents along, which doesn't get factored into the various bodies that look at this stuff. The cost of housing these people, the cost of their families, elderly relatives who need treatment on the NHS, children, all the rest of it. Then you consider, we're not that far away, it sounds sci-fi, but go and look at the way that robots and things are being developed. We're a couple of years away from having robot butlers that can go and work in the fields, that can stand by and do all these things, all the rest of it. So the arguments that you need huge amounts more immigration to deal with a demographic problem is going to be proven completely wrong, and yet we're stuck with lots and lots of people here from other cultures, not a very British thing to flaunt money, let alone guns, stuck with these people, and we've made no attempt to assimilate them. And unfortunately, the way that the mood has gone now, this could have been averted, I think, in previous years. It's now got so bad that quite a lot of people who thought they were going to be able to stay here are going to have to go.
It also doesn't do anything, Benjamin, for the simmering tensions. I mean, we're going to talk a bit about those at 10 p.m. I think the way that certain protests were policed at the weekend is very, very questionable, to say the least. And we've also got Yvette Cooper's announcement today that appears to be welcoming, throwing her arms around Gaza and also allowing some refugees to work. But when people who are outside, like those protesters there, I think that is the outside of the Bell Hotel, it's the opposite side of it, who are outside there have got concerns, and it's, you know, a bit of a powder keg, really. And then a video emerges of a bloke who appears to be a security guard inside, and someone goes through his social media and it emerges that he's been posing with weapons. How do people expect those people outside to react to that?
But, I mean, look, whatever job this person was doing, it would be a concern. I imagine security guards go from one location to another, so it's not unique to this refugee hotel issue. But I really don't have a great deal of respect for the people protesting outside there, because all too often they're intimidating vulnerable people who are in those hotels, people that have...
vulnerable.
People who... Well, it doesn't look like it, does it? No. But I think, yeah, everyone else might be vulnerable. vulnerable around him.
Did you see the photographs after the judgment on Friday of some of the migrants in the Bell Hotel at the windows, giving the finger to the protesters outside? They didn't look like very vulnerable people to me. They were laughing and jeering and just enjoying the fact that they know they can't be touched.
If they want to...
That makes people angry.
These people are following the rules that we set, and it's not fair to intimidate them when they're in these hotels.
All right, I'm going to go... We sent this to numerous different people, actually, including the Home Office. Certainly we've heard back from them, but we did go to Supreme Facilities, which is the security company responsible for security at that controversial site, which I believe is the Bell Hotel, though I'm not sure about whether... Presumably they are at the Copperthorne one as well. But anyway, their managing director, Andy Lane, spoke to the Daily Express, and he said the officer is an employee of Supreme Facilities Limited and is currently suspended pending a formal investigation. We also reached out to a company called CTM Limited under a contract with the Home Office who manage the hotel. We're awaiting a response. But just quickly, just on that just shows you what a kind of murky world this is, OK? Because you've got ultimately the Home Office making decisions about where they want to house people. Then you've got a hotel company involved. Then you've got maybe one or two different security companies involved. There's layer upon layer upon layer of thing. I do think it is kind of a deliberate attempt to make a lot of it as difficult to trace as possible. That'll be my view. But anyway, coming up, it's time for our latest Great British giveaway. Yay! And it's our biggest prize yet, worth more than 104 grand. You can win a full-berth motorhome with over 74 grand, plus a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here's Hayley Sparks with all the details.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For a chance to win the motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I've got an action-packed show for you this evening. Deputy PM Angela Rayner's constituency home sits at the exact inheritance tax threshold. Gosh, what a remarkable coincidence. That is amazing, isn't it? Or, savvy planning. Anyway, it's a deepening tax route that we're going to be talking about. Plus... Well, the English countryside, rolling hills, fresh air, apparently... racism as well. A new report claims that ethnic minorities feel like outsiders. They didn't in that video, did they? And I'm not really sure that's true, especially as someone who lived in the countryside for quite a while. We're also going to be talking about that and Yvette Cooper's plans, apparently, to make illegal immigration worse. Stay tuned.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight. So apparently the countryside's racist. It's time for the head-to-head. Look, rolling hills, fresh air, and apparently racism. A new report is claiming that the English countryside is increasingly racist. Where do you get a load of this, right? Researchers from the University of Leicester say ethnic minorities often feel like outsiders in rural areas, citing experiences from overt abuse to subtle microaggressions and a lack of cultural facilities, including halal food and prayer spaces, which is a problem that will no longer exist in the Lake District or just outside it once they build that £2 million mega mosque that will service next to nobody. But rural campaigners, including the Countryside Alliance, have rejected the findings. They've said it's nonsense, pointing out that the official hate crime data shows far more incidents occur in cities. The report has sparked a heated debate about diversity, inclusion and the perception of rural communities across England. I'm very pleased to be joined now by political commentator Jane Mathewson and Conservative councillor for Hounslow Council, Ron Mashiso. Thank you very much. Ron, I'll start with you on this. Do you reject the findings that the countryside is a hotbed of racism?
Absolutely, Patrick. I think this is just another way. I mean, keeping this thing alive in rural areas, in order to try and say that racism is just spreading like wildfire. It isn't. We know where the racism really occurs is often when people are living on top of each other and they feel the space is not kind of conducive to sort of getting to know each other. The countryside is the mecca of getting to know people, connecting with nature, connecting with neighbours. And I don't think that this report answers any of these questions at all.
Just before I go to James, Ron, can I just ask you, would you feel afraid going to the countryside?
Absolutely not, Patrick. In fact, I go there quite often. I've got many, many friends in the countryside. And in the end, my aim, actually, in the next few years is actually to move out to the countryside.
Well,
many of my friends who are also black, and they actually want to move to the countryside. So this report is an absolute nonsense.
Yes, yeah, well, there you go. James, I'm not just going to ask you to come back to that. I mean, I just want to put this to you. I mean, it's a rigorous report, this, James. They spoke to 115 people.
Yeah,
in local groups across the country in different places. It's interesting data. It's done by the University of Leicester. I think we need to kind of just take it back a step, if that's all right, from the way you two have had this conversation, if that's okay. Because the way the Daily Mail have done this as well is by saying the report is saying that the countryside is racist. That's not what the report's saying, all right? The report is saying that there are issues in the countryside that people in ethnic minorities feel relates to them. And that's what this is about. And the data isn't trying to cast aspersions in any direction. It's an academic report, and academic reports, as we know, present the data in a neutral way. That's what this has done. It does, however, point to things that I've seen and I've experienced as somebody who grew up in the most rural county in England, in Northumberland. I've lived in rural communities most of my life. I hate cities. I agree with Ron. Get out of London. Get out of cities if you can help it. I love the countryside. It's beautiful, and it's one of the best things about this country. But there are issues there, and there are issues that largely relate to the fact that the indices of multiple deprivations put countryside communities a lot of the time in the lowest percentile when it comes to things like education and access to education. Everybody I know, every single person I know, and this is not hyperbole, I promise you, has a relative, has a family member who is racist. I have family members who are racist. I know people who are racist in the countryside, and they share these views largely. As Ron's pointed out, a lot of tensions in urban areas come from an issue with multiculturalism and mixing communities and all the rest of it. But in the countryside, it's the opposite. It's often
I'm just going to bring Ron in here. So the report seems to make a virtue of the fact that just 4% of people living in rural areas class themselves as being an ethnic minority other than white. So basically, what I take from that is that 96% of people essentially say that they're white, living in the English countryside. I mean, Ron, is that just because of how it is in England?
I guess it is just how it is, but there's small microaggressions which are documented in the report. These are things that we come across all the time in any walk of life. As an ethnic minority, you're always going to find somebody asking where you're from. You're always going to find somebody who is, I agree, racist in any walk of life. But to now say that all of a sudden there are issues of bad feelings in the countryside, as this report suggests, is just trying to perpetuate this whole narrative that the whole place is becoming more and more racist. And I think the countryside is probably the place to actually connect with people and put the divisions aside and share the love of the countryside, share the love of going to a pub and being treated like a human being instead of just a number. And I think
James, can I just put this to you, because what I do think has happened over the course of the last 20 or so years is that there has been a bit of an agenda to pump a lot of kind of things like critical race theory and all of that stuff into schools, etc., and in cities. If you let me finish, in cities. And what they're saying now is that the chief executive of the Rural Services Network has said what this report means is it means ensuring that schools, local authorities, health services and other rural providers are properly resourced and equipped with the skills, training and confidence to respond to racism effectively. We know what this is now, don't we? It is just going to be a load of DEI training and critical race theory stuff pumped into rural areas.
People need DEI training. Let me tell you, I know people who need it. I know people who could do with it. It's important. It's very important. But critical race theory, just because you mentioned it, Patrick, that's not real. So we need to address that first and foremost. Secondly, in these communities where I have been, and it's very important, I understand Ron's take on this, but let me tell you, I've been in spaces, Ron, that you haven't. Right? I've been in spaces where everybody's white and everybody's comfortable saying whatever they want to say behind closed doors, all right? Because they don't feel any kind of judgment. And they say things that you would be astounded by, all right? People in our communities, amongst us who live there, who might seem well-meaning a lot of the time.
Just out of interest, what do they say in some mosques, James?
What's that?
What do they say in some mosques?
What are you on about mosques for?
Well, because you've said there that you've been in areas, you've been in places where people are all white and all of that stuff, and that they might speak freely and say things that would put you know, to make your hair stand up on the back of your neck. Well, shortly after October the 7th, the Daily Mail did an investigation into several mosques behind closed doors, and they were saying certain things there. It's not just people who are white in rural areas who can be racist, James, is it?
Patrick, I'm a white man who grew up in a rural area.
Yeah, I lived in a rural area as well. You're not unique, mate.
You've just mentioned mosques, pal.
Yeah.
What on earth are you on about?
It's a pretty straightforward thing. You can choose to ignore it or not.
No, it's
the
not,
obvious
mate.
thing
We're
is you were
talking
saying
about
you're in
the country.
areas and
We're
places where
talking-
people
no,
who were all of
I
one
was making
demographic
a
were saying
point.
stuff that would make
I
you
was
wince.
making- no,
and I'm
listen.
saying that's not exclusive. It's not
let me
exclusive to a
speak.
white rural community, is it? But I
Let
don't
me
know whether or not
speak.
you want to ignore that aspect of
Let
it,
me
Jay.
speak. You know what's fascinating, Patrick, right, is the fact that when somebody brings these issues up, so I stand here, right, as somebody who says, I've heard the N-word, I've heard it used in private circumstances between white people in countryside communities where I've grown up, right? So I'm saying that to you. And your response to that is, what are they saying in mosques? Just check
Patrick,
yourself, mate. No.
Can I come in there?
Check
First
yourself,
of all,
man.
absolutely, yeah, go
That's
on, Ron.
mental.
No, it's not
That's
mental, mate. I
insane.
think you're mental, but go on, Ron.
That's insane.
Go on, Ron. Do you want to chip in? Have we lost Ron?
I think we've lost Ron. I think Ron's
we've
had
lost
enough
Ron.
of you, Patrick. I cannot believe that, though. Can I just say really quickly?
Well, sorry, James. I'm going to get in here. We've got Ron, but James, you can be performatively outraged as much as you like, mate. But everyone's
I'm
sick
not
of it. Go on,
You're
Ron. Just come in.
performatively outraged.
I was saying,
You're performatively
I
outraged.
appreciate James's honest. I
No,
appreciate
don't
the
tell me to
honesty
shut
there.
up. No, don't put me on your TV show and tell me to shut up.
I'm not going to
But
have you
I'm telling
continually
you-
talking over,
No.
OK?
Your
It's Ron's turn to
baking of
talk,
racist
James.
issues
All right,
is the
James,
problem
it's
as to
Ron's.
why
If you
this...
don't like the line of questioning, that's
Listen,
absolutely fine,
let me
OK?
tell
But it's
you
my
that
show. I can question how you like. I can point out hypocrisies where I see them, James.
Hypocrisy, Patrick.
I saw a hypocrisy there, so that's what I did. Right.
When the first, you're not going to let me speak.
Patrick. Now, James,
Let's bring Ron in.
James, just give me 1 second. James, just give me 1 second. James, just give me 1 second. What I think, firstly, I appreciate the honesty of saying that there are things behind closed doors in white communities that you are aware of that if I heard it, I'll be absolutely horrified. I appreciate that. But my point to this whole debate is the fact that racism is being brought about into different facets of the community. Whereas if we talk about these areas in rural areas, like talk about race in rural areas, we are going to exacerbate the issue even more. The best way to tackle racism is to make sure that people are not talking about this, creating conversations out of nothing. And this report basically says exactly what I feel every time I walk out of my door, which is some people treat you differently. That's normal. I am a different race. I'm an ethnic minority in this area. They treat you differently, but yes?
In rural communities. A higher percentage found in rural communities. That's what the data says.
Right,
and that's what I'm attesting to by my lived experience. And I'm sorry to say it, but it's just hugely unhelpful, Patrick, when we have these debates.
I would love to be
Muslims.
I
know you're obsessed with it.
I would love to be treated equally, James.
I'm not going to take lessons in what is and is not helpful from you, OK? You're not the only person who's got a lengthy lived experience living in the countryside, and I feel a need to stick up for those people, to be perfectly honest with you, because I think some of the things you've said is outrageous. But we crack on. Thank you very much. It's James Matthewson there, and Conservative Councillor for Hounslow Council, Ron Mashiso. Right, coming up, Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana's new party has already hit the rocks a little bit. There is a big internal split going on. Is it just the beginning?
There's one rule for them and one rule for all of us.
And we're going to get into the weeds of Angela Rayner's latest potential scandal. Stay tuned.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. It's remaining unsettled across parts of Central Europe as we go for the next few days. Either side, plenty of dry and sunny weather to be had. There could be a few showers on Tuesday across parts of the Canaries, but still plenty of dry and fine weather to be had. And for much of Iberia, actually plenty of sunshine around. But then we come back into the risk of some severe thunderstorms across parts of Italy and southern France. But then for much of Greece and Turkey, it's back to the sunshine with temperatures in places here reaching the low 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello again, very good evening to you. This is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Now, the generally unsettled theme will continue as we go through the rest of today, overnight into tomorrow. Lots more showers to come, even a spell of more persistent rain in the south because there is a front that's pushing its way in from the Atlantic. But generally the story is a low pressure firmly in charge, and this will continue to drive some showers in, particularly across northern and western parts as we go overnight. Elsewhere, something a little bit drier and clearer, and under those with clear skies. It could be a little bit cooler than it was last night, whilst towns and cities are generally going to hold up in double figures. A few rural spots likely to drop into single digits. And then through tomorrow, well, a big talking point will be the more persistent rain across southern parts. So Devon, Cornwall getting off to a cloudy start, some heavy bursts of rain as this front makes its way in, even across some parts of South Wales. But further east, a drier story, albeit a few showers towards the coast. Also coastal showers for parts of Northern Ireland, Northern England, and also large chunks of Scotland. The showers across Scotland are likely to be heaviest, most frequent in the west, and they could be thundery here. Elsewhere, the showers not as frequent, not as widespread as those that we saw today, and less likely to be heavy, less likely to be thundery. But across the southern areas, we do have that frontal system making its way further east, so some rain for many, and it could be quite heavy. There could be some thunder mixed in with it as well. Temperatures are going to be similar to today. We're looking at high teens, low 20s, so feeling warm enough in any sunny breaks, but less so in the unsettled weather. Talking of unsettled weather, Wednesday's looking pretty wet, and it could be quite windy as a spell of rain makes its way across much of the country. Perhaps western Scotland avoiding this and staying largely fine. And then a showery picture on Thursday before a bit of a northwest-southeast split on Friday, wetter towards the northwest. Bye-bye.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
All right, welcome back. So Angela Rayner is in some serious hot water, or shall I maybe say cold water if she's in a canoe again. But not only has she now been labelled 3 pads Rayner, while working people are struggling to get on the property ladder, but she is now allegedly dodging inheritance tax. Angela Rayner's constituency home, which she shared with her ex-husband, was valued at the exact price of 650 grand to avoid paying inheritance tax in what many have said is a remarkable coincidence. Next, it's been claimed that she saved 40 grand in stamp duty by telling the taxman that her luxury property in Hove was her main home, while telling the Cabinet Office that her primary residence is her former family home in Greater Manchester. You keeping up with all of this? Bit murky, isn't it? And finally, it's been reported that Angela Rayner is registered to vote in person in Hove whilst using her postal votes in her constituency and also in Westminster, where she has a Grace and Favour apartment. Well, despite this, a spokesman for Sir Keir Starmer says that he has full confidence in Rayner, and she's denied any wrongdoing. We can bring in our political journalist, Aaron Newbury. Aaron, can you clear all this up for us? I mean, it's all a bit messy here for Ange, isn't it?
It certainly is very messy, and I think Starmer's found himself in probably the last place he really wants to be as MPs come back from recess, which is talking about problems in the Labour Party. Especially when one of these person involved is his deputy leader, and it's extremely difficult for a Labour Prime Minister to get rid of their deputy leader, as they are actually elected separately by members of the Labour Party. I think it's, as you say, it's a huge mess, and I don't think the British public like it when it looks like politicians have perhaps a different set of rules. Ordinary households, like mine, like yours, like the watchers of this programme, cannot pick and choose what taxes they pay, and the perception that perhaps the Deputy Prime Minister may have that privilege is not one that I think Starmer will find.
It's also a remarkable coincidence that her home was valued at the exact price it would need to be to avoid inheritance tax, isn't it?
I would say it's very lucky that she's had that sort of degree of good fortune to have her home valued at that precise price. I would say she's very lucky indeed.
Yes, indeed. And what do you make of this business about, as I understand it, being able to vote in 3 different constituencies?
Well, I think the law on that's, I'm not not an expert on election law, I must admit, but I think the law on that's slightly complicated. She's allowed to be registered in more than one place. She's not allowed to vote in more than one place in a general election or something like that. But again, it raises more questions that she's saying different things to different people. She's told HMRC, as you said, one thing, the Cabinet Office something else. She's refusing to answer questions in Parliament. I understand that the Conservative Party chairman, Kevin Hollingrake, has actually written to her to ask for answers as well, and she's ignoring them. I think it's probably just easier if she just comes out, says what the facts are, and clears this up. She should just come clean, I think.
I've got a little X post here that I'm going to show to you, right? So this is quite interesting. It's a tweet, I think we can bring it up now, and it says, breaking, there's a court order stopping Angela Rayner revealing more about her property deals. And that's according to Angela. Apparently she would love to be more opaque about this. She would love to be more honest. But unfortunately, there's a court order. I mean, what the heck is that? Have you ever heard anything like this before?
I must admit I haven't. I know that MPs running for office can conceal their addresses from ballot papers for security reasons, and I think that's probably fair. I've not heard of this particular example before. I mean, it has happened. I must admit I'm not an expert on court orders either, but maybe this has happened before. But again, if British voters were promised perhaps a more transparent government, especially given some of the ongoing scandals that came before, and I think they're right to be asking questions as to why Angela Rayner will not come clean and just say what the situation is and lay the facts out for people to make their own judgments.
OK, all right. Well, thank you very, very much. We watch this space. It doesn't look like it's going away. It's Aaron Newbury there. Thank you so much. I have got a statement from Angela Rayner. A spokesperson for Miss Rayner said the Deputy Prime Minister paid the correct duty owed on the purchase entirely, properly and in line with all relevant requirements. Any suggestion otherwise is entirely without basis. Right, coming up, well, today, Yvette Cooper made an announcement that I believe has made the illegal migrant crisis worse. She's going to fast-track Gazans and refugee students.
Hey, I'm Jeremy Corbyn, leader of the Labour Party. My pronouns are he, him.
Yeah, but up next, well, it turns out that the more fundamental aspects of Jeremy Corbyn's Islamic support have started to fall out with the pro-trans lobby. Who could have seen that coming? Stay tuned. Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays, I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Chu, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Jeremy Corbyn's new party is already split, this time over transgender rights. Now, Adnan Hussein, one of the group's 6 MPs, has said that trans women are not biologically women and called for single-sex spaces. But Zara Sultana hit back, vowing to always stand with the trans community, insisting, in her words, bigotry has no place in the movement. So Mr Corbyn himself has sided with Zara Sultana, telling activists trans rights are human rights. However, this was Adnan and Jeremy over the weekend at a Your Party event in Blackburn. Well, it's no secret that the Your Party has managed to gather a lot of support from aspects of the British Muslim community, most notably because of their stance on Gaza. But they've also got a lot of support from some of the kind of hardline LGBT groups. And, well, it's fair to say that the two of them might not necessarily always see eye to eye. Well, I'm joined now by former Green Party Deputy Leader Shahra Ali. Thank you very much. Tremendous to see you. So this is an inevitable split, isn't it, between more of the fundamental Islamic wings of British politics and then the pro-trans brigade?
Well, I think it's certainly not a good sign of things to come, and it is a great example of the authoritarian left of which the Green Party sadly has become. I would firstly want to suggest that it's no part of being Muslim, even a conservative Muslim or a moderate Muslim, that you should think that sex is real and immutable. That's not something which marks out Muslims from non-Muslims, I would suggest. But the problem that we've got here is your party's complete inability to tolerate viewpoint, diversity, difference of opinion on something which is the broad masses would agree that sex is real and immutable.
Is it not a slightly, for want of the best phrase, unholy alliance, though? Because there are, amongst aspects of the British Muslim community, but also it's happened in America, it's literally happened in America, where there's been an alliance between a big pro-LGBT group and Muslim councillors, or whatever their version is over there, and then they've come to power, and then the pride flag's been taken down, right? Because it was seen to not equate with the Muslim belief system. So is that not what we are heading for here?
I don't see that the Muslim community is going to win that particular battle amongst the authoritarian left.
Interesting.
Because they are very proudly gender identity totalitarian. Right. There is a problem there is a rift there which they need to overcome, if only because unless they crack that nut of allowing a minimal amount, and Adnan Hussein has, I don't want to suggest that I know him, no. Adnan Hussein has correctly pointed out that identitarian politics is old hat and is not going to curry favour with the vast majority of the electorate. And so this is potentially electoral idiocy, if not electoral suicide, for them to try and dissociate themselves from somebody who is reasonably moderate, even as a Muslim.
Just quickly, do you see them being able to hold this alliance together?
No, it's going to be a problem, because even now you can see not just Adnan being attacked completely disproportionately to what he said, which is wholly in line with the Supreme Court and the Cass review.
One of the few things I agree with him on, actually, is just biological facts, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only has he not only have they attacked him mercilessly, on social media, they've also attacked Mothan Ali, who is a deputy leader candidate in my own party, for seemingly aligning himself and not distancing himself from Mothan Ali. So this is just the politics of guilt by association, and they'll be going for Greens next for not dissociating themselves from your party.
Well, quite. Look, thank you very much. Sorry it was short and sweet. We got a bit squeezed earlier on, so thank you. But it's really interesting to get your views. Hope to speak to you again. That is the former Green Party Deputy Leader, Shahra Ali. Right, look, when I come back, we've got a lot going on because Yvette Cooper made a big announcement at the House of Commons today, specifically about how she was going to tackle the migrant crisis. Some people think she might have actually made it a little bit worse by offering them the chance to work, for example, and saying something quite interesting about Gaza. Stay tuned.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again, very good evening to you. This is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Now, the generally unsettled theme will continue as we go through the rest of today, overnight into tomorrow. Lots more showers to come, even a spell of more persistent rain in the south because there is a front that's pushing its way in from the Atlantic. But generally the story is low pressure firmly in charge, and this will continue to drive some showers in, particularly across northern and western parts as we go overnight. Elsewhere, something a little bit drier and clearer, and under those clear skies, it could be a little bit cooler than it was last night, whilst towns and cities are generally going to hold up in double figures. A few rural spots likely to drop into single digits. And then through tomorrow, well, a big talking point will be the more persistent rain across southern parts. So Devon, Cornwall getting off to a cloudy start, some heavy bursts of rain as this front makes its way in, even across some parts of South Wales. But further east, a drier story, albeit a few showers towards the coast. Also coastal showers for parts of Northern Ireland, Northern England, and also large chunks of Scotland. The showers across Scotland are likely to be heaviest, most frequent in the west, and they could be thundery here. Elsewhere, the showers not as frequent, not as widespread as those that we saw today, and less likely to be heavy, less likely to be thundery. But across the southern areas, we do have that frontal system making its way further east, so some rain for many, and it could be quite heavy. There could be some thunder mixed in with it as well. Temperatures are going to be similar to today. We're looking at high teens, low 20s, so feeling warm enough in any sunny breaks, but less so in the unsettled weather. Talking of unsettled weather, Wednesday's looking pretty wet, and it could be quite windy as a spell of rain makes its way across much of the country. Perhaps western Scotland avoiding this and staying largely fine. And then a showery picture on Thursday before a bit of a northwest-southeast split on Friday, wetter towards the northwest. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's our biggest Great British giveaway to date. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas and has all of the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure that any adventures you take in your new motorhome are taken in style. For a chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
Do you agree with what your lawyers said, or don't you?
Yes, of course we do.
Oh, whoopsie. Well, after Labour put the rights of illegals over the rights of Brits, it's emerged that asylum seekers are being given brand new £300,000 homes complete with electric car charging ports, underfloor heating and much more. Also,
there's one rule for them and one rule for all of us.
Get ready for more revelations on the front of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. More trouble for Angela Three Homes Rayner. Huge questions over the value of her homes and where she got that money from. Also, on the front page of the Metro, I'd be safer in Somalia. An asylum seeker who literally wants to be sent home to his African war-torn country. On my panel tonight, we have got the Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, and we've got political commentator James Price. Oh, and Greta's not happy.
Slowly, every day, more and more people are waking up and seeing more of the absolute atrocities, the genocide, the mass slaughtering that Israel is committing.
Has anyone else spotted a slight resemblance here? Anyone? Yeah, there you go. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Police pepper spraying kids and Yvette Cooper making the migrant crisis worse. Next.
Hello, a very good evening to you. Tonight at 10, the government has entered the debate over the wave of Union Jacks and St George's crosses being flown across the UK as part of the so-called Raise the Colours campaign. Supporters say it's a patriotic show of pride, while some councils have removed flags on safety or, they say, planning grounds. Reform UK has pledged to protect them, and one mosque in Birkenhead has displayed a Union Jack to show that it belongs to British Muslims as much as anyone. Speaking in the Commons earlier, the Home Secretary Yvette Cooper said flags should be seen as symbols of shared national values, including compassion.
When we wave the Union flag, when we wave the St George's flag, when we sing God Save the King and celebrate everything that is great about Britain and about our country, we do so with pride because of the values that our flags, our king and our country represent. Togetherness, fairness and decency, respect for each other, respect for the rule of law. That is what our country stands for. That is the British way to fix the problems we face.
Well, the Home Secretary is also tightening family reunion rules for asylum seekers, saying people smugglers are exploiting them to fuel dangerous channel crossings. Yvette Cooper told MPs earlier today that the current system is, she says, not sustainable, and confirmed new applications under the route will be suspended with a new framework due next year. But critics say the changes don't go far enough. Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp accused Labour of scrapping the Tories' Rwanda plan without a workable alternative.
If someone enters this country illegally, they should not be allowed to bring in any family members. In fact, everybody entering this country illegally should be immediately removed to their country of origin, if possible, and if not possible, to a safe third country such as Rwanda, a scheme which she cancelled just days before it was due to start.
Away from politics, the UK has recorded its hottest summer on record, the Met Office confirmed today. Average temperatures across June, July and August hit 16.1 degrees, beating the previous high set in 2018. It follows the warmest spring since records began, with months of hot, dry weather leading to hosepipe bans and falling reservoir levels. All 5 of the UK's hottest summers, in fact, have now happened since the year 2000. Former British heavyweight champion Joe Bugner has died at the age of 75. The Hungary-born fighter, who fled to Britain as a child refugee, became British Commonwealth and European champion in 1971, controversially retiring Henry Cooper in the process. He twice went the distance with Muhammad Ali, also facing Joe Fraser and Frank Bruno, before finishing a career that spanned more than 3 decades, with 69 wins from 83 fights. And in the last half hour or so, breaking news from the sporting world, the signing of the summer. Liverpool have smashed the British transfer record to land Alexander Isak from Newcastle for £125 million. The Sweden striker, who sank the Reds in last season's Carabao Cup final, has signed a 6-year deal at Anfield. The move went right down to deadline day, Newcastle announcing his exit just 2.5 hours after that window closed today. Those are the latest headlines. I'll be back with you for one more update at 11.
Good evening. Today, Yvette Cooper just made the illegal migrant crisis worse. She's going to fast-track Gazans and refugee students.
I can confirm that the Home Office has put in place systems to issue expedited visas with biometric checks conducted prior to arrival for children and their immediate accompanying family members. And we have done the same for all the Chevening scholars and are in the process of doing so now for the next group of students from Gaza who have been awarded fully funded scholarships and places at UK universities so they can start their studies in autumn this year.
Well, look, the latest polling I've seen on this is from May this year, and it showed that 37% of Gazans supported Hamas and 25% supported Fatah, the Palestinian Nationalist and Social Democratic political party, which, can I just say, I think is putting that rather mildly. But anyway, what could go wrong? Yvette Cooper also announced plans to allow refugees to work.
Later this year, we will set out plans to establish a permanent framework for refugee students to come study in the UK so we can help more talented young people fleeing war and persecution to find a better future, alongside capped and managed ways for refugees to work here in the UK.
I think this is absolutely insane. I mean, one good thing she did announce today was making it harder for illegal migrants to then bring their families over. So refugees will instead have to apply through the Standard Family Scheme, which applies to British citizens who have to show that they have a joint income of at least £29,000 a year before they are allowed to bring their foreign partner to the UK. But all of this comes amid a backdrop of what we saw this weekend. Yesterday, Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson revealed the Labour government does take the view that the rights of people who have illegally entered Britain can outweigh the rights of concerned local British residents.
Do you agree with what your lawyers said, or don't you?
Yes, of course we do.
Whoopsie. Well, we know that because again today it emerged that a load of asylum seekers have been given new £300,000 townhouses with ensuite bathrooms, electric vehicle charging points and underfloor heating. More on that later. It's interesting to see how those veterans in Bolton are doing, isn't it? But there are big question marks over possible heavy-handed policing towards local protesters. We saw that this weekend. The police pepper-sprayed women and children at a protest in Canary Wharf. And then they arrested a local woman who happens to be a Reform member, I believe, who hung a flag from the Civic Centre in Epping.
But it looks like the police are trying to cause a scene. Look at that! Look what they're doing! Look what the police are doing! What are they doing?
It took the police quite a while to claim that they actually arrested her for, apparently, as far as they are concerned, breaching an order that limited the scope of that protest. They said that we've facilitated a protest in Epping this evening. A significant number of people attended the town. We made 3 arrests, including 2 men and 1 woman. With regards to the arrest of the woman at the Civic Centre, we're aware of suggestions around the reason for her arrest. The arrest is on suspicion of breaching a Section 14 order. That order set out specific areas where the protest could and could not go. So that's what the police have said there. But many people are pointing out that we didn't see many arrests or see many women and children pepper sprayed when this happened. The pro-Palestine lot there bringing an entire train station to a standstill. And we have had the pro-Palestine lot climb war memorials in central London as well. Don't know, was anyone arrested there? Not sure. This happened in broad daylight at Cambridge University. There you are, the slashing of a painting there that you can see. Look at that, there you go. By the way, in case you're wondering, no, nobody has been arrested for that yet. So why do we need to accept more Gazan students? Why do we need to make it easier for so-called refugees to work? Why do we need to give asylum seekers brand new luxury homes? Why are the rights of non-Brits more important than actual Brits? Let's get the thoughts of my panel. Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth and political commentator James Price. Carol, I'll start with you on this. I mean, the big announcement today, I suppose, from the Home Secretary, as far as I could see anyway, was more Gazans and refugees having the right to work. Your thoughts on that?
Yes. There was a judgment by a guy called, I think it was Hugo Norton-Taylor.
Benedict Norton-Taylor, a classic.
Hugo.
Yeah.
Anyway, he passed a judgment recently and he ruled that a Palestinian family of 6 could come here. And it caused outrage because what that meant was anyone from any war conflict area could potentially come to this country. And this is happening all the time with judges in this country. We have partisan judges who are passing ludicrous, outrageous judgments. And we saw it on Friday where 3 Labour voting left-wing judges overturned the judgment of 2 weeks before. And not only did they overturn, they criticised the judge who had made it and said he'd actually made mistakes. The person who you could say made the mistake was a guy called Mr Justice Bean, who overturned it. However, that's why we're having these rights, because the British people now can see clear as day that the establishment, that the government and our judiciary don't give a stuff about what we think, we feel about immigration, how it's affecting our lives, how it's destroying communities, how the crime rate is rocketing because of it. They don't give a stuff. They have said quite clearly that migrants' rights are more important than British people's rights. That is going to reverberate around this country in the same way we've seen it today, and I fear for what's going to happen if the judiciary keeps on ignoring the will of the people over immigration. What Yvette Cooper has done today is again tickling around the edges of a problem. She should have done this months ago, where she has suspended families of illegal migrants coming into this country. She suspended it, not got rid of it, because what that means is that people who come here illegally are allowed to bring 5, 6, 7 of their kids over within a very short period of time, when a British person who lives here, who has a foreign partner or husband, has to prove that they earn 29,000 million.
Well, it'd be nice to know what you're on.
Between them.
Quite.
So not fair.
But is that a case of, is this a case, James, of credit where credit's due? That is a good thing from Yvette Cooper, is it not, to say that if you do come to Britain illegally, if we give you British citizenship, if you want to bring anyone over, you'll have to prove that you're earning some money?
Well, what happens then, of course, if that person wants to complain? under Article 3 a right to a family life in the ECHR. This is always the problem. The state that we've got into now is that whatever the government itself actually tries to do, the legal apparatus in the country can help you undo it and undermine it. Exactly as Carol says. You say you're not allowed to bring people along. That's not fair. I want my wife and my 18 kids and all my other dependents to come along as well, and I'm going to sue you, and the ECHR is going to stand with me on this as well. And you know, that would be one thing if it was Ukraine. It would be one thing if it was Hong Kong, where there seems to be kind of level of democratic support for the problems that have happened there, and, you know, either a European connection or a historical one with Hong Kong. When it's Gaza, and you've had generations of people there who have been taught the most awful things in their schools, and you can see UN-funded textbooks that say the most ghastly, awful things about Jewish people, these are not people we want to be having in the country at any point. You've got lots of people in this country who are suffering, lots of people who aren't getting decent education at university levels, certainly not at school levels now that Labour have taken over, and yet you've got the Home Secretary saying we need to have all these Gazans come over so we can give them a good education. It's totally unfair.
Yeah, well, what do you think of those announcements by Yvette Cooper today about Gazan refugees and about refugees being able to work?
Well, I think not letting them bring the whole family with them, it's kind of insane that was the norm beforehand, and so I think it's the right thing to do. It shouldn't be the case that a refugee has an easier route than someone that's got a 35 grand a year job and is contributing. So that seems like it was an unfairness that's being fixed. I don't think it's OK to say that no one from Gaza should come here. We're not talking about taking refugees from Gaza carte blanche, and I don't think we should, because there are serious problems.
What happens if you set a president and you let...
But this example is about people who've got into British universities. Some of those people presumably have scholarships. So these must be very capable, talented people that have earned their place in this country.
Could you see the potential for that to be abused?
Well, I mean, I suppose the question is where you draw the bar of it being good enough, but being good enough to qualify. But I think it would be totally wrong to say that there is one place on earth where people aren't allowed to come to our universities. You know, what would be the difference of Libya or parts of Egypt? You know, where they have very similar attitudes, right?
A very good idea. Let us ban them both as well.
But so I don't think it's wrong. And I also, you know, it doesn't entirely sit well when you see them getting those homes and British people are struggling.
Well, yeah.
However,
There's an understatement.
I really hate what this debate has become. This sort of racially charged, xenophobic attitude that has taken over in recent months. We have a proud record of helping people struggling from around the world,
yes,
and we should pay for refugees.
We have a proud record of helping people who are fleeing war and persecution. The people coming on the boats every day are not fleeing war and persecution.
You don't know that.
Yes, I do.
Why would they get refugee status if they're not?
Well, because the government can't deal with the amount of refugees that's coming. But what I didn't know was, and Jack Straw, the ex-Labour Home Secretary, has said the other day clearly that the ECHR, we do not have to obey their rulings. He said quite clearly that the law says we have to take heed of them, but we are not governed by them. We can ignore them if we want to. Also, the Human Rights Act can be changed so that we don't have to take any notice of the ECHR. So why are we letting these people come in day after day after day when we literally don't have to?
James, what did you make of some of the police tactics that we saw over the weekend there? It's quite concerning. I mean, it came off the back of Bridget Phillipson saying that, well, basically acknowledging that the government stood by their legal advice, which did say, really, as far as I could tell, that essentially the rights of asylum seekers or illegal immigrants outweighed, in certain cases, the rights of locals. You then saw quite heavy-handed police tactics, really, at 2 protests over the weekend.
It doesn't seem like it's going to help lower tensions, does it? Seeing police officers snatching Union Jacks and pepper spraying people. Pepper spray, by the way, which you're not allowed to carry in this country to protect yourself from some of the crimes that the people protesting are worried about, of course, right?
Oh,
so
really?
But you're not allowed to have pepper spray in this country. When my American wife, who was already upset that she had to leave her gun collection back in Indiana, realised she wasn't allowed even to have pepper spray to defend herself, and now you've got police officers using it on protesters. And yet when you compare it to some of the protests we saw around Gaza, the people screaming how much they love Hamas and all the rest of it, you saw people committing crimes and the police doing nothing and waiting and doing facial recognition stuff to go and nick them later because they didn't want to inflame tensions and all the rest of it. other incidents, when it's, you know, the people worrying about their own country, you're seeing these ridiculously heavy-handed tactics. It's not going to end well for anybody.
Do you think we've got a bit of a problem at the moment, Benjamin, with politicians who seem out of touch and have got into a right mess over legal issues here and a question of priorities and a hierarchy of rights, really, in this country, at which Brits do not appear necessarily to always be at the top. And also the police, not necessarily dealing with these protests particularly well as well, creating a bit of a powder keg.
No, I think many of these protesters don't really care. They just see an opportunity for disorder, for promoting their racist views and for getting angry in the street. Absolutely. You know, the other day, I was
Are you
yesterday...
seriously saying everyone in Epping who was being on the streets protesting are racist? Are you saying that's what they're doing?
I mean, there's
I'm
a
not
mum
here to
there
say
who's just
everybody,
spent
but I bet there's a
24
lot of
hours
them.
in custody for unfurling a flag off a civic building.
But these people don't care about this country. I mean, they've been going round ruining town centres by spray painting red crosses on everything, costing us all money. These people,
you're probably in favour of Just Stop Oil doing it.
These people,
Palestine Action or whatever they were called before that. You're just going and smashing up banks and spraying red paint everywhere.
But you asked the question.
The frustration of the British people.
You're allowed to be frustrated. You're not allowed to damage lampposts.
Well, we could tell that to the Palestinian protesters as well, but they damage things all of the time. But do you not see the frustration that people in this country who are broke, who need a house, who need a job, they see people coming in...
and what's sticking a flag up a lamppost going to do for that? These people
you asked the question about whether politicians have got themselves in a mess over this, as have the police and everything else. We seem to have this idea that we have a separation of powers in Britain, that they do in America. We don't, because we didn't have to fib about George III. Parliament is sovereign. Parliament can do what it wants. We don't like the laws, and we don't. Parliament can and should change them. It could get rid of all of this nonsense. It could overrule all the ECHR stuff if it wanted to. The people we should be most angry at are the Labour government, the Labour MPs, who don't seem to want to do any of this stuff, and they seem to want to let the ECHR and judges go and litigate all of this stuff for them.
The government you were in didn't do any of these things.
Yeah, but it's fair.
It did plenty of things. They could have done more.
Fair point. They had plans in place to deal with it, which the Labour
14
Party
years.
scrapped.
All right, we've got to go. And the reason why I want to go is because actually I've got a bumper segment. We did touch there on those £300,000 homes for asylum seekers, and I thought the compare and contrast there was with those veterans who are being evicted in Bolton. I'm very pleased to say I've got a couple of them on shortly. But before that, I want to talk to you about the Great British Giveaway. It's the biggest cash prize to date, I think. £104,000. You can win a 4-berth motorhome worth 74 grand and £30,000 in cash. Here's how.
It's our biggest, greatest Great British giveaway to date. Your chance to win a prize package worth over £104,000. You could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primero motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this 4-berth home from home comes complete with integrated kitchen and bathroom areas, sky view roof light, and has all the tech you'd expect from the latest 2025 model. We'll also give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to make sure any adventures in your motorhome are taken in style.
For a chance to win the motorhome and cash, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
OK, very shortly, we've got all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, but first... Coming to a new £300,000 townhouse near you with an electric vehicle charging point, ensuite bathrooms and underfloor heating. Yes, seriously, asylum seekers are being given that. I speak to some veterans from the Bolton area who are being turfed out. Stay tuned.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Today we have a special treat for you all because we're talking about John Stapleton.
Yes.
And he's reunited with his boxing partner on Breakfast Television.
Screen wife.
For the first time in 17
I know.
years.
Well, we were 17 years together.
We were.
And then I don't know how long that we haven't actually presented it. When did it all? When did the wheels come off?
Nearly 10 years ago.
10 years ago. 10 years ago that the wheels came off and we went our separate ways, like sort of squeaky supermarket trolleys.
Well, stayed in touch.
Oh yes, of course. We carried on with our very sober lunches.
Indeed.
Well, my friend, absolutely great to see you.
Hi, new fella.
And what's wrong with you?
I've got a thing called Parkinson's disease, which is what they call a progressive illness, which is a polite way of saying it'll only get worse. But thinking positive about it, lots of people live a near normal life with Parkinson's, so I'm aiming to do the same. I'm taking the tablets, I'm doing the exercises my expert tells me I should do. I'm speaking as well as I can because I need a speech therapist to talk more slowly and more clearly. I also have difficulty swallowing, and the latest thing is I've had difficulty with my balance, hence this stick I've got by my side all the time now. So, but, you know, I'm learning to live with it, doing my best to overcome
John,
it.
what is it? What is Parkinson's? Those are the effects it's having on you, but where's the problem? Why does it come about?
It's a neurological disorder, which means your body doesn't coordinate as it used to do. It's the fastest growing neurological complaint in the world, believe it or not. We don't quite know why, possibly because more of us are living longer. But, you know, as I say, you can live a near normal life with it, and so if you behave yourself, which I'm attempting to do.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. We've got all of tomorrow's newspapers from pages coming your way. But first, well, there's tensions now in a Suffolk village as asylum seekers move into £300,000 townhouses, complete with modern amenities. Locals say they were left in the dark while struggling to get on the property ladder themselves. Some support the move, it's fair to say, but critics, including Nigel Farage, argue that Britons are being overlooked. The homes are leased by Serco for the Home Office amid controversy over closing asylum hotels by 2029. Meanwhile, you might remember back in July, 12 veterans were served their eviction papers in Bolton. A letter hit the doormat and told them that they needed to get out in a month. I'm very pleased now to be joined by a couple of those veterans. It's Gary Doyle and Scott Berry. Thank you very much, lads. Great to see you again. Right, first things first, where are you up to with your state of play then, where you are in Bolton?
Basically, we're still getting evicted. Council come round today and spoke to us. They said, basically, you're still getting evicted. They're basically blaming on Qualitas, saying they're not meeting the requirement because not enough support's being given. But, yeah, that's all we've heard from them.
The housing came today, didn't they?
Yeah, it was the housing, Bolton.
But we're just left in the dark.
How long have you got before you're being evicted?
Beg your pardon, sorry.
How long is it before, excuse me, officially you're evicted?
We've not been given a specific date.
It's the 18th we've got to be out by, 18th of September.
Right, so right there or thereabouts. I believe that we've got a little clip, actually, that I've not seen yet, but I think of some of your accommodation. So let's play that.
Sorry, it's a mess. Absolute mess. Somebody keeps coming in there. Right.
So that's the conditions that you're already being forced to live in, and then obviously now you're being evicted, and goodness only knows where you end up. Potentially, you might end up homeless. How do you feel when you see stories like what we're about to show some pictures now of these new £300,000 townhouses and all of that?
Knocks me sick. Absolutely knocks me sick. You know, they're letting people in the country they do not have an idea who they are, where they're from. You know, fair enough. If it was a woman and child who were escaping war and their lives were at threat, great. But all we seem to see is young men of fighting age coming over, no ID, smoking drugs, drinking, causing ruptions, causing problems. You cannot do that in any other country. I could not go to a country without any identification and get given benefits, given a house, given anything. And now we're getting treated like second-class citizens in our own country after joining, you know, the forces and fighting for them. It's ridiculous.
Would you guys like to be offered somewhere like that to live?
Yeah, I'd love somewhere like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. I could have my daughter around and everything.
Yeah.
But can't. I don't know when I'll be able to have it over or anything now, because I might be in a tent in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah. I was hoping to get back in touch with my wife and daughter and then hopefully for them to come with me, but I've been told today that I will just get a one-bedroom flat once they find one that will, you know, obviously try and fit any criteria I've got. But they're not holding any candles out for us, really. There's nothing that they're telling us.
I just find it absolutely
disgraceful. There's no support staff here at the minute. They're on holiday and all.
Yeah. That's the common areas, those, Patrick, as well. They're supposed to be cleaners here. They never maintain anything. The picture with the yellow bucket, there's an electric cupboard downstairs. You've got heroin addicts who just walk straight in and they're sleeping in there. There's no security. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous here.
And just mentally for you guys, what's the kind of toll it's taking, this uncertainty about where you're going to end up being? Also, I imagine, quite righteous anger, really, about the way that you're being treated.
There's a lot of lads who are really depressed. I come back from Liverpool the other weekend and there was lads crying. They're absolutely petrified now. They're even talking about feeling like suicidal and stuff. I'm scared. One day I'm just going to walk into a room and check on one of the lads and he's going to be swinging on up from the ceiling, because that's what'll end up happening.
It's just stressful not knowing what's happening when other people are getting prioritised before us, and we haven't got a clue what's happening. What you know, obviously we signed up, we joined the forces, you know, we did our bit for our country. No one gives a damn. Nobody gives a damn.
I just find it bonkers that these homes, these £300,000 townhouses, you know, you've got things underfloor heating, en suites, they've got everything there. They're in Suffolk. Now, with respect to the asylum seekers, you know, they're obviously not originally from Suffolk, right? So we found housing for them, and we found very nice housing for them. So, you know, why can't we find housing for you guys?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not just for us, it's for like low-income families as well. You've got like single parents who are struggling, working the bottoms off, like working hard, and they can't even get themselves on the ladder as it is. They're living in... It's not just veterans who are getting shafted, it's normal British people. Like, it's the disgrace. This country's gone to crap.
You only have to go onto the internet and look at what chaos and what crime. I mean, shoplifting's up, all crime rates are up. The shoplifting's gone up since they've let all these illegals come into the country. They do not live by any laws or our laws. They don't give a damn about breaking them, because they'll get put in prison, they'll get a sentence, then they'll get £1,500, told them that they'll get the sentence cut short and send them back home. They'll get a £26 flight, and then they'll come back here with a different passport if they can. The country is diabolical. It's unbelievable.
So right.
We're just left with nothing.
That's all right. No, so what would be the best case scenario for you guys? Because I know initially it was all about like, well, let's let you stay there and everything like that, and then we've had another look at it, and obviously it is pretty dire. So I imagine actually maybe now you kind of want to move, but you just want some. It's the best case scenario that you get moved to somewhere better, basically.
Yeah, and
Right.
safer,
Okay.
better, safer, somewhere where you can get your roofs down, and hopefully we can get ourselves together. We're not asking for much.
No, I don't think you are. Because also, as a country, I mean, you know, I won't get you guys to go into it now or anything, but the things we've asked you to do for us are absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, I can't get my head around some of the things in the armed forces that you guys must have done and seen and been prepared to do. I find it absolutely astonishing that we're in this situation. OK, all right. Well, look, I'll stay in touch with you again, and we'll try and do something about it. It's difficult because I don't know what we can do really. You know, even if they did it up, I don't get the impression that you guys are particularly keen to stay there now. I suppose.
We don't want to stay here, Patrick. We just need to get somewhere, and it would be nice. I mean, God, if we could get somewhere like that, great. And like you said, we have our own little community. We look at. I made Gary's tea tonight. We're there. We were talking. We help each other, but you know, it's a rat's nest there. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And once obviously you come into our places, they're spotless. Mine's spotless. Cleans that. I don't live like that. It'd be quite easy for these immigrants to live like that. You only have to see. I mean, it's sickening what's going on in the country, and it's sickening what's happening to not just us, all the veterans. It is ridiculous. You look at Manchester City Centre. On the weekend, it's overrun by immigrants smoking weed, drinking, causing trouble. They don't give a damn.
I've heard a lot. I've seen a lot of clips from Piccadilly Gardens and stuff recently, and it's absolutely. I tell you what, it is absolutely mind-blowing. All right, lads. Look, thank you very much, and but we will stay in touch. I do hope if there's anything that I can do, we will get it done. It's Gary Doyle and Scott Berry there talking to us from that accommodation in Bolton. We've got the Home Office here now. They've said at its peak, this is, I believe, about the new homes, I think, that they've been given to the asylum seekers. At its peak, less than 2 years ago, there were 400 asylum hotels in use at a cost of almost £9 million a day. We've taken urgent action over the past year to fix that system, doubling the rate of asylum decision-making and reducing the amount of money spent on asylum hotels by almost £1 billion. Right, coming up, tomorrow's front page will be delivered. A tease for you in the Mail. 3,567 in, 0 out. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I've got a guess. The Metro apparently are leading with a story about a bloke who thinks he'd be safer in Somalia. It's all going off. I'll see you soon.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello there. It's remaining unsettled across parts of Central Europe as we go for the next few days. Either side, plenty of dry and sunny weather to be had. There could be a few showers on Tuesday across parts of the Canaries, but still plenty of dry and fine weather to be had. And for much of Iberia, actually plenty of sunshine around. But then we come back into the risk of some severe thunderstorms across parts of Italy and southern France. But then for much of Greece and Turkey, it's back to the sunshine with temperatures in places here reaching the low 30s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello again, very good evening to you. This is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Now, the generally unsettled theme will continue as we go through the rest of today, overnight into tomorrow. Lots more showers to come, even a spell of more persistent rain in the south because there is a front that's pushing its way in from the Atlantic. But generally the story is a low pressure firmly in charge, and this will continue to drive some showers in, particularly across northern and western parts as we go overnight. Elsewhere, something a little bit drier and clearer, and under those clear skies, it could be a little bit cooler than it was last night, whilst towns and cities are generally going to hold up in double figures. A few rural spots likely to drop into single digits. And then through tomorrow, well, a big talking point will be the more persistent rain across southern parts. So Devon, Cornwall getting off to a cloudy start, some heavy bursts of rain as this front makes its way in, even across some parts of South Wales. But further east, a drier story, albeit a few showers towards the coast. Also coastal showers for parts of Northern Ireland, Northern England, and also large chunks of Scotland. The showers across Scotland are likely to be heaviest, most frequent in the west, and they could be thundery here. Elsewhere, the showers not as frequent, not as widespread as those that we saw today, and less likely to be heavy, less likely to be thundery. But across the southern areas, we do have that frontal system making its way further east, so some rain for many, and it could be quite heavy. There could be some thunder mixed in with it as well. Temperatures are going to be similar to today. We're looking at high teens, low 20s, so feeling warm enough in any sunny breaks, but less so in the unsettled weather. Talking of unsettled weather, Wednesday's looking pretty wet, and it could be quite windy as a spell of rain makes its way across much of the country. Perhaps western Scotland avoiding this and staying largely fine. And then a showery picture on Thursday before a bit of a northwest-southeast split on Friday, wetter towards the northwest. Bye-bye.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
All right, welcome back. Let's whiz you through all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. At the Metro, I'd be safer in Somalia. An asylum seeker who wants to be deported from a UK market town back to a war-torn African nation. I think we'll talk about that. The Eye, Starmer seizes grip of budget after Treasury quotes mistakes hit Labour in the polls. Rachel Reeves' former Treasury deputy, that's Darren Jones, I think, moves to a key position, reporting directly to Starmer. The Daily Mail. 1 in, 1 out fiasco. 3,567 in, 0 out. As Labour unveils asylum crackdown, Yvette Cooper admits no small boat migrants have been sent back to France since the deal was signed. The Times, refugees to be stopped bringing in families. We've also got court order bars Rayner from elaborating on property deals. OK, let's just deal with the most ludicrous one out of all these, I think. This is the Metro, really. I mean, I'd be safer in Somalia. I'll read you a bit of the detail on this. An asylum seeker who has been in the UK for 20 years has asked to be sent back to Somalia because he would feel safer there. He says he's still waiting for a reply. Yusuf left the African nation as it was in the midst of civil war and has been housed in Nuneaton, but was stripped of his right to work after a conviction for a serious assault. There's always the detail. James, your views on this?
What a silly guy. You know, he was there 20 years, just a good guy. If only he hadn't have committed a serious assault and then been barred from work. And the heart bleeds for this guy, right? He's actually quite smart, though, because if he does get back to Somalia earlier, whatever next government comes in is going to deport a lot more people as well. So he'll be then there early on the housing ladder.
Yeah. Go. I mean, what's your views on this, Carol?
Well, if he wants to be... If he thinks he'd be safer, why doesn't he go back to Somalia? The flight can't be that expensive. And I'm sure the government would help him on his way if he really wanted to go.
I do wonder if we should do a bit more of this. Like, just find people who are in Britain, who are asylum seekers, who've maybe lived here a couple of years and they've had a look at it and they think, oh, maybe it's not all it cracked up to be, and just say, do you want to go home?
Well, there were lots of people who came here from Syria under Assad. Well, Assad's gone now. So there's a huge number of people who could head back.
They always say they're going to go home. It's like people who live here and they say, oh, if such and such gets elected, I'm going to leave the country. They never, ever leave the country. They just mouth off about it.
What do you think, Benjamin?
No, I can't help but think, it is possible to go to Somalia. There are flights to Mogadishu.
Of course, very easily.
So if you wish to go back to Somalia, then I don't know, I think you fly via Ethiopia. It wouldn't be that difficult.
The quote, by the way, the quote on this story, it's a great story, this. It goes, this country is not safe, but my country is now safe. I want to go back.
Well, Somalia has got safer in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But, I think I'd still choose Brixton over Mogadishu, frankly. I think even the most dangerous corners of London.
But he is choosing Nuneaton over
And there is the phenomenon, of course, a lot of people who claim asylum and say they have to run away, we then see them going on holiday back to the country that they say they're fleeing from.
Exactly.
I wonder what that's all about. Maybe we let them go and cancel their visas.
Well, just on that, I mean, what do we make of the eye, though, this reshuffle that we've had here? You know, this kind of little mini reshuffle. Darren Jones is going to report directly. It's phase 2, isn't it? Did you see the clip of Starmer? It's phase 2 of his government, James. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, I wish there was a better metaphor than rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic, but this isn't going to work. I saw this in some ways, but Boris tried to do this, and we saw a little bit of this. Theresa May tried it, even Liz Truss tried in her brief tenure. When you start shuffling around a few people in number 10, it's just an admission that you can't actually get anything done. And part of the reason they can't get anything done is he doesn't know what he wants to do, and all this government is reacting to things all the time, and that's not going to change, no matter who the key advisors you've got around you are.
Mind you, he is giving Rachel Reeves 2 new economic advisors, which has to be good, because she sure was telling you. You know, which is good, because she doesn't know what she's doing, so this would be good if somebody talks a bit of sense into her.
I mean, you wonder whether there's some kind of power struggle by bringing in these advisors. Is it to try and change the kind of decision-making that Rachel Reeves is doing?
Just sack her.
These advisors seem to be a bit more on the left than where Rachel Reeves is, so you wonder if it signifies... he's been promoted, and then you've got this fairly left-wing advisor, this woman who said that you should have more wealth taxes, and something I agree with, that you should tax
But this is going to go down like a fart in a lift, Benjamin.
Gosh.
It's that works literally on many levels.
Very good. It's not going to work, of course, because you might, as Prime Minister, have now 1 or 2 economic advisors. The Chancellor still has 2,000 people working in the Treasury, so there's always going to be that imbalance, and we should be grateful that there is, because the Treasury is the one thing that's stopping Labour spending and wasting even more money.
Are they stopping her spending and wasting even more money?
It could be could be much, much worse. And this is the problem with Reeves. Even though she lied about her CV and all the rest of it, she's still probably the best they've got. She's the only person with any private sector experience in the whole cabinet.
She's the best they've got, but that means nothing. I mean, who would you put in her place if she wasn't there? There's literally no one.
I think Darren Jones, the person who's just been made Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, I think he's very good, and he was Chief Secretary to the Treasury.
To see.
To see?
To see, yes, because he was famous for all that question time quote, wasn't he, where the overwhelming majority of people coming over on the small boats are women and children.
Yes, exactly.
I just wonder if maybe...
Or maybe he's a problem with the truth.
Or yeah.
I think the central problem...
Because that's a numbers game in a way, isn't it? And he's managed to mess up.
Well, I think they've appointed various new people to be in charge of the government's communications, because it's not very good.
Yeah.
But I think the government has a problem that it doesn't have a story to tell. It doesn't seem to know what it wants the country to look like in 2029, and I think that's the question they have to answer regardless of who's in post.
Well, if you don't know the answer to that, and this government clearly doesn't, what's going to happen? It's just going to get worse by the day. You can reshuffle as much as you want, and nothing's going to change.
At least we're over phase 1. Over phase 1. I just wanted to bring this clip to you. So this is a video of a cap pincher going viral. He snatched a tennis star's hat off a child.
That's disgraceful.
Apparently he's a Polish millionaire.
Yeah.
He said something like this: "How I live my life, I'm not sorry. That's how I got to where I am." In a way, I kind of respect being that awful.
But he has now apologised. He's apologised, saying that he thought the hat was for him.
He should have doubled down.
Double down, exactly.
He tries to get
double down, mate. Go and nick another cap.
Should go cap in hand asking for more.
Oh, it doesn't just happen. Anyway, right, OK, coming up, more newspapers. And in the Sun, strictly fat jabs alert. Ooh, and it's still time for you to be in the studio for my live studio audience on a Friday. Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Dale, so what's all this about? You're involved in this scheme. The idea is that people who've got depression need to get out and about, and football's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up really rather well there. Football is a place for communities. It's a place where you feel a part of something. I know this from my experience of football. I've been running Forest Green for about 15 years now. And chatting to our local GP, who happens to be also our MP, but we just had the idea, why don't we offer football on prescription? Because it'd be a lovely thing to do. Football is a great place to come and meet other people and be a part of something. And it could really help people that are feeling isolated and lonely and you know, other aspects of mental health. So I'm really happy to be taking part in this, and if it works here in Stroud, then we're hoping we'll roll it out nationally, and maybe even the NHS will embrace it as a national programme. That would be great.
This is football clubs that have signed up to voluntarily offer seats to be a part of this programme.
Yeah, and right now it's one football club, Forest Green Rovers, but I hope that football clubs up and down the country and up and down the leagues of football as well, because it doesn't have to be a Premier Championship club. You know, there are lots of great leagues in our country and local clubs for people to go and take part with. So yeah, it's not being paid for by the NHS. It's being paid for currently by Forest Green Rovers.
You're a businessman, though. Surely you must see some, you know, some dollar signs on this one. Sell the tickets to the NHS.
Well, I'm British, so I don't look at dollar signs. But look, I'm primarily an environmentalist, and what I care about is making our country a better place. I spend most of my time pursuing the green economy, but I believe in tax justice, social justice, that kind of stuff. Mental health is a crisis in our country, particularly for men. You know, it's the biggest cause of suicide for the under 50s. Men are affected 3 times more than women. Men don't tend to talk to each other. They don't talk about their problems. And so this is not about money.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Let's round up the front pages for tomorrow. Daily Telegraph, smiling through the pain. Rachel Reeves putting on a brave face after being frozen out by Starmer. Rayner, I would love to be open about my tax affairs, but I've been gagged. Oh, The Sun, strictly fat jabs alert. 5 stars are on the drug. 5 Strictly celebs have been taking fat jabs. Well, I mean, they make it sound like they're all doing cocaine in the toilets or something.
I think that is the other story.
Why are they saying they won't last the distance?
OK. The Guardian, PM tries...
It was in The Sun, I've not just made it up.
PM tries to regain policy control from Treasury. Number 10 shake-up. The Mirror, ban the vapes. E-cig epidemic fear. Wills and Harry the Unseen Pictures as well. The Daily Express, Farage's "I'll get rid of you" threat to the Prime Minister. Right, there we go. Fat jabs, strictly. Anyone care?
I don't care, and I just don't know how they're not going to last the distance, because if they're losing weight, they're going to be fitter than they were when they were a little bit overweight. So I think it's probably only a good thing. People are trying to demonise these fat jabs now. I just don't understand it.
Does it, when you're on them, does it make it physically less fit? Does it make it harder?
In the beginning, the first month or so, you do have certain symptoms. You can be headachy, you can be a bit tired. But then once you've been on it a while, you get used to it. It's fine. Then you get more energy than ever.
The thing is, why would you go on so-called fat jabs when you're doing Strictly? Surely, right, if you could just lose the weight of the jab, you may as well not do Strictly.
It's on you that millions of people are going to see you go every day.
But also, 8 hours of training every day. You can't be a chub if you've got lots of training to do. It's hard work.
We've only got a couple of minutes left, but this Angela Rayner, I would love to be more open about my tax affairs, but sorry, guys, I just
She's so
can't
could be, couldn't she?
It's funny for that, because she's normally so forthcoming about things like how she managed to pay for that house or anything else.
Yes,
I'm more worried about this.
Did she manage to pay?
Well, there's another story here about the vapes being bad for you, and we know from the photos of her recent holiday that she loves getting on the vape, so I'm doubly worried for poor Angela Rayner now.
Well, why? Although she'll put forward a ban on them, but she'll have stocked up.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Well, she's got in a little booze cruise across on her little dinghy to France to go and get them all.
Yeah, she'll be the only person allowed vapes.
And we're laughing, and she could be Prime Minister, and they're not too distant.
Well, did you hear Starmer's Freudian slip earlier today, where he said she's a great Prime Minister?
Yeah. Well,
she's done an amazing thing where a bit of legislation she's got going through is going to ban metro mayors from being MPs as well. Yeah. So she's already killed off Andy Burnham and Sadiq Khan. Yeah. So I think that was her victory lap in the dinghy.
Mind you, I'm not too upset about that, are you? I mean,
do you know, it's like Sophie's choice. I'm not sure which one I'd rather be in charge.
I do find it remarkable, though, that she's got this there's a confidential court order for preventing her disclosing details about her complex tax affairs.
Yeah, well,
that's all right then. I'm sure the public won't mind.
That's her lawyers getting their ducks in a row.
What can that be? I don't know.
So she sold the house in the constituency in Ashton.
She didn't sell it.
She sold her stake as part of the divorce, and so maybe the court order relates to the divorce settlement.
I thought she'd gifted that house to her kids.
She's done two things. She put some in a trust, and she sold her stake to her husband, which is presumably how she's paid the deposit for an £800,000 flat in Hove.
Or is it?
But then would that not technically mean that she's not actually really living at all in her own constituency?
No, she's not.
Well, she's registered to vote in Hove as well.
Yeah, in both.
Which is legal, but quite surprising.
Sorry, but Nigel Farage gets a load of stick for, he's never in Clacton, he's never... Angela Rayner apparently just isn't in Ashton. Underline.
Well, neighbours said they hadn't seen her in 2 years.
Yes.
But, maybe that's a blessing.
And too busy putting legislation to damage the country, of course.
But she might lose her seat. James and I were just talking about this before, weren't we? She only had a 400 majority, so she might lose her seat.
Well, she might. I do wonder about that, whether she fancies the chances more in Hove. But anyway, obviously I will just say Angela Rayner has not actually done anything illegal, as far as we're aware. She's just I don't know how you describe it, really. Done what she's done. Right, OK. Don't go anywhere, because we've got another hour of front pages for you. Stay tuned.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again, very good evening to you. This is your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Now, the generally unsettled theme will continue as we go through the rest of today, overnight into tomorrow. Lots more showers to come, even a spell of more persistent rain in the south, because there is a front that's pushing its way in from the Atlantic. But generally the story is a low pressure firmly in charge, and this will continue to drive some showers in, particularly across northern and western parts as we go overnight. Elsewhere, something a little bit drier and clearer, and under those clear skies it could be a little bit cooler than it was last night. Whilst towns and cities are generally going to hold up in double figures, a few rural spots likely to drop into single digits. And then through tomorrow, well, a big talking point will be the more persistent rain across southern parts. So Devon, Cornwall getting off to a cloudy start, some heavy bursts of rain as this front makes its way in, even across some parts of South Wales. But further east, a drier story, albeit a few showers towards the coast. Also coastal showers for parts of Northern Ireland, Northern England, and also large chunks of Scotland. The showers across Scotland are likely to be heaviest, most frequent in the west, and they could be thundery here. Elsewhere, the showers not as frequent, not as widespread as those that we saw today, and less likely to be heavy, less likely to be thundery. But across southern areas, we do have that frontal system making its way further east, so some rain for many, and it could be quite heavy. There could be some thunder mixed in with it as well. Temperatures are going to be similar to today. We're looking at high teens, low 20s, so feeling warm enough in any sunny breaks, but less so in the unsettled